morning. I don't know where you're watching this, but I'm up on Beach Mountain in North Carolina, and it's late November, and let me tell you something, it is nippy out here. I'm just standing here watching the sun come up over some of my favorite places. I've been up here with my mom. We're on this little mini vacation, and we found this place called the Overlook Barn. It's a wedding and event venue. It's absolutely gorgeous, breathtaking. It's just on the side of the mountain. I mean, this place it's truly spectacular. And I've been wanting to do these videos for a while now called Over Coffee, where I discuss things over coffee. And when I saw this place, I was like, you know what? Here and now, this place and this time. So let's get started. Fix yourself a cup of whatever it is you want, water, coffee, hot tea, I don't care. I'm a video. But I got my coffee and I got my Bible and I'm ready to go. Now, I love to talk, and one of my favorite things in the world to talk about is this book right here. This book, the man that wrote it, the man that it's about. And I've always enjoyed talking about this book, but even more so in recent weeks. Today is November 18th. On November 7th of this year, my father was promoted to glory. He spent 2 weeks in ICU after suffering from a massive heart attack. And after all his fighting and all our praying and all the doctors doing whatever it is that doctors do, God just opened his arms and welcomed him right on in. Now, if I were to stand here and tell you that I'm fine with all of this, that would be a bald-faced lie. But I can sit here and tell you that I have been able to trust God through all of this, and that is a truth fact. I have clung tighter to my Jesus through this than anything I've ever experienced in my life, and honestly, better than I would have expected. He has just made himself undeniably real during this trial. I have seen miracle after miracle in my life, and I know that these miracles were prayed down onto me by the saints in my life. And every one of those saints that came to me during this time used a variation of the following phrase: "What can I do for you besides prayer?" And that's so sweet. It's a wonderful, beautiful sentiment. But out of sheer curiosity, no condemnation, is it okay if I counter that with a second question? When did prayer stop being enough? I'm going to use myself as an example, but feel free to give your amen and your admission that you've done the exact same thing. I believe in prayer. I trust God to answer prayer, but I am too tempted to believe that my prayers have no immediate, obvious, outward proofs. Do you struggle with that? So I've got to do something. I've got to do something that proves that I care for you. And when did prayer stop being enough? The New Testament overflows with stories of prayer. I mean, Jesus teaches us how to pray. He prays over a young boy's lunch. He prays over a Last Supper. He prays in a garden. And then, after our God is resurrected, as his followers spread his news, they never, ever think that something other than prayer is what they need to do when they are dealing with life's biggest choices. For those earliest believers in God, prayer isn't a choice. It's the choice. Can I suggest to you today that prayer stopped being enough when we stopped having generations of men and women in our midst who had actually talked to Jesus face to face? When we quit having folks in our midst who knew prayer not as something we have to do, but as something we get to do. when we quit having folks in our midst who know prayer not as an automated, mindless construct, but as an awesome, miraculous conversation with our Creator God, who not only wants to speak to us, He wants to hear from us. Prayer isn't something I do for you when you're going through a hard time. Prayer is a conversation with my best friend that you get brought up during. Ephesians 6:18 has this to say in the Voice translation. Pray always. Pray in the Spirit. Pray about everything in every way that you know how. And keeping all this in mind, pray on behalf of God's people. Keep on praying feverishly and be on the lookout until evil has been stayed. What can you do for me besides prayer? Well, in the name of the Son who prayed to the Father himself, not a single blessed thing. Nothing. There's nothing to do besides prayer. And that's not only okay, it's how it should be. Now, I know that right now, a lot of you are sitting there condemning yourselves. Because to be honest, I am a little bit too. I don't always pray. I have no idea whether or not I'm praying in the Spirit. I hope I am. I pray I am. But how do I know if I'm getting this prayer thing right? You don't. Well, gee, thanks, Mags. That's super helpful. Let me finish. You don't know if you're getting this prayer thing right. But the more time you spend doing it, the better you get to know God. The better you get to know God, the more you understand what He wants. The more you understand what He wants, the more you know how to pray, and the more time you're going to want to spend in prayer. And if that sounds like I've left you some sort of back door to get out of, that's not what that is. I haven't left you a back door. I just left you some grace. Didn't leave you a back door to climb out of. I left you a pile of grace to climb into. Because how can I not give you what I have been so freely given? Ephesians 6 carries its conversation on prayer on into verse 19. And please pray for me. Pray that truth will be with me before I even open my mouth. Ask the Spirit to guide me while I boldly defend the mystery that is the good news. I will blog. I will post videos to songs that I have written and songs that I love that other people have done. And I will hopefully continue doing these over coffee videos, discussing some of the truths from this book that I think are totally life-changing. And I ask you to pray for me. And if you want to know what you can do for me besides prayer, I'll tell you. You can believe that I am praying for you over coffee. Thank you for having coffee with me this morning. I've enjoyed this, and I look forward to making it part of our routine. Go with God, go with grace. And remember that ours is a good, great God, and He is huge and able.